Imagine a jewel from the British Crown's dazzling vault, a tiara that once graced the heads of Queen Mary and the young Princess Margaret. Then, sometime in the mid-1960s, it vanished without a trace. For half a century, experts were convinced it lay securely nestled within the royal vaults of the Windsors, simply biding its time. But what if that official narrative was merely a convenient smokescreen, concealing a far more scandalous truth? What if this regal ornament had been discreetly sold off? This question lingered as a mere whisper in the corridors of power, until halfway across the globe, at a lavish Malaysian wedding, an all-too-familiar sparkle of diamonds suddenly caught the light. How did a tiara, once cherished by Queen Elizabeth II's grandmother and sister, secretly slip out of London and land in the coffers of another monarchy? Today, we will sift through palace whispers and separate fact from fiction to truly understand what transpired on that fateful day when a British tiara embarked on its mysterious new life. Turn back the clock to the dawn of the 20th century. Europe, blissfully unaware of the looming horrors of war, was basking in the final, incandescent moments of the Belle Époque. Balls, lavish receptions, and grand operas filled the air, as aristocracy and monarchs alike vied for supremacy in splendor, with precious jewels becoming the unspoken language of this dazzling contest. At the heart of this glittering world stood the British Empire, presided over by its formidable queen consort, Mary of Teck, a woman whose very name became synonymous with regal majesty and an indomitable will. Queen Mary was far more than a mere connoisseur of jewels. She was a strategic collector with encyclopedic expertise. She amassed, reimagined, and commissioned new masterpieces, all with a singular vision: to forge a treasury worthy of the world's greatest empire. Every acquisition was not merely a whim, but a meticulously calculated investment in the dynasty's enduring prestige. It was against this backdrop, in the early 1910s, that the concept for a strikingly new, elegant, and decidedly modern tiara began to take shape. To bring her vision to life, the Queen sought out only the finest artisans. While precise records of the commission have not survived the passage of time, the barely discernible hallmarks etched into the tiara's setting unequivocally point to the Parisian house of Cartier. During those illustrious years, Cartier already held the unofficial yet universally acknowledged title of jeweler to kings and king of jewelers. Louis Cartier was a trailblazer in the use of platinum, a metal that allowed for the creation of light, almost ethereal, lacework settings for diamonds. His signature garland style had, by then, captivated every royal court across Europe. The Queen's commission was, paradoxically, both straightforward and intricate. She desired a tiara crafted in the fashionable bandeau style. This particular silhouette, designed to be worn low on the forehead, almost brushing the eyebrows, perfectly complemented the era's coiffures and underscored the elegant purity of its lines. Cartier's master craftsman fashioned a delicate platinum and diamond structure, built upon a rhythmic pattern of rhomboid elements, shapes that, in antique descriptions, were poetically referred to as little boats or navettes. It was a pure, graphic, and self-contained design, remarkably ahead of its time. Yet Queen Mary wouldn't have been Queen Mary if she hadn't added her own distinctive personal touch. She famously viewed her jewels as a kind of magnificent, interchangeable construction set. Specifically for this tiara, she would periodically borrow large drop pearls from her renowned lover's knot tiara and other treasured ornaments, affixing them into specially designed mounts on the new bandeau. This ingenious versatility rendered the piece truly universal, allowing it to be seamlessly adapted for any ensemble and any occasion. Thus, what emerged was not merely a piece of jewelry, but a profound statement. In a world already sensing the impending winds of change, this tiara, stripped of the ostentatious weightiness of ancient regalia, emerged as a potent symbol of a new, more understated luxury. It was a perfect mirror of its owner's character, impeccable taste, an unwavering commitment to order, and a hidden yet unyielding strength, all captured within the cool, pristine brilliance of flawless diamonds. For a moment, let us cast aside its royal provenance and examine the tiara through the discerning eyes of a master jeweler, placing it beneath the concentrated beam of a powerful lamp. What unfolds before us is not merely an ornament, but an engineering and artistic marvel, a true testament to its era's ingenuity. At the very heart of its intricate construction lies platinum, a revolutionary metal that in the early years of the 20th century truly upended the world of fine jewelry. Unlike gold or silver, platinum boasted incredible strength within a minimal volume, enabling Cartier's artisans to craft an almost imperceptible setting. The diamonds, therefore, appear not to be held by metal at all, but rather to float effortlessly, suspended in air, much like a delicate frost pattern etched onto glass. At the heart of the design lies a precise, rhythmic pattern of diamond rhomboids, or navettes, as they were charmingly called by contemporaries. These exquisite figures, meticulously arranged with old European cut diamonds, create a mesmerizing dance of light. Unlike modern stones that aim for a dazzling flash, antique diamonds possess a softer, deeper, and more vibrant shimmer, one that truly comes alive with movement, particularly in the warm glow of candlelight. Each rhomboid is a self-contained composition, perfectly aligned with its neighbor, forming a cohesive tapestry of geometric harmony. Peering even closer, one can discern the paramount level of craftsmanship, particularly the millgrain technique. Along the delicate edges of the platinum setting, thousands of minuscule metallic beads are meticulously applied, visible only upon close inspection. This intricate detail not only softens the otherwise rigid lines of the metal, lending them the appearance of the finest embroidery, but also intensifies the play of light upon the diamond's facets, creating an additional halo of radiance around them. It is a quiet whisper of artistry, accessible only to the truly discerning connoisseur. Now just imagine the sensation of holding it. Despite its dazzling cascade of stones, the tiara is astonishingly light. The cool, almost icy touch of the platinum band would barely register against the skin, and the inherent flexibility of its construction allowed it to perfectly contour to the wearer's head. The diamonds carried just enough weight to whisper of their immense value, yet not so much as to cause the slightest discomfort. One can almost picture the soft click of its hidden clasp, a sound that heralded the beginning of yet another brilliant evening at court. But the genius of this particular jewel lay not just in its breathtaking beauty, but also in its remarkable versatility. Queen Mary, ever the pragmatist, ensured its transformability. The tiara was fitted with special mounts, allowing it to be adorned with large pearls borrowed from other regal pieces. One evening, it might present itself as a severe, all-diamond bandeau. On another, it would blossom with the noble, iridescent sheen of mother-of-pearl. This tiara was not a static object, but a dynamic system, a living canvas upon which its owner could continually conjure new and captivating bejeweled looks. Thus, the very anatomy of this treasure is a tale of the convergence of technology, artistry, and personality. Revolutionary platinum gave it form, Cartier's genius infused it with light, and Queen Mary's pragmatic mind bestowed upon it a soul and the capacity for endless transformation. This is not merely a diadem. It is a perfect unity of form, material, and concept, the very formula for a masterpiece that defies the relentless march of time. While the tiara had resided within the Queen's treasury for over 2 decades, secretly sparkling at intimate family dinners and private receptions, it was one particular evening in 1935 that elevated it from a personal treasure to a public legend. The stage was set at the London Theatre in Leicester Square for the royal premiere of the film The Ghost Goes West. The air buzzed with anticipation, the blinding flash of photographers' bulbs, and the excited murmur of a crowd eager to catch a glimpse of the royal family. As Queen Mary emerged from her car, a hush fell over the crowd for a brief moment, followed by an audible gasp of admiration. Majestic as ever, in her evening gown, furs, and her signature strands of pearls, she embodied the very essence of monarchy. Yet, on this particular evening, all eyes were drawn not to her famous jewels, but to the dazzling ornament that crowned her silver hair. Against the backdrop of her traditionally almost Edwardian style, the Cartier diamond bandeau looked strikingly modern. It was an ingenious move. Had a young princess worn this tiara, it would have accentuated her youth. But on Queen Mary, a living symbol of the empire, its pure, almost architectural brilliance had an entirely different effect. It spoke not of fleeting fashion, but of timeless elegance. It was a powerful statement that she, the Queen, remained at the vanguard of style, that her taste was impeccable, and that her collection still possessed the power to astonish. The piece perfectly completed her regal ensemble, transforming from a mere accessory into a symbol of her undisputed status as an icon. The reaction was immediate and profound. The very next day, newspapers were filled with photographs of the Queen, and society columnists vied to discuss her sartorial choice. In aristocratic boxes and bustling newsrooms, whispers turned into animated conversations. This was not just a new tiara, it was a demonstration of strength. In a world still reeling from the Great Depression and anxiously watching the escalating tensions in Europe, the Queen's appearance in flawless diamonds was an act of asserting the crown's stability and unshakable resilience. On that very evening, bathed in the glow of the spotlights, the tiara transcended its identity as merely a diamond bandeau. It acquired a name and a story. It became the Queen Mary's tiara. This triumphant red carpet debut forever etched it into the pantheon of great royal jewels, transforming it from an object into a living legend. From that moment on, its destiny was sealed. It was fated to sparkle at the most significant events of the century. In 1948, the tiara was given a new lease on life and a new spirit. Queen Mary, ever perceptive and far-sighted, bestowed it as an 18th birthday gift upon her granddaughter, Princess Margaret. This was more than a generous gesture, it was a symbolic passing of the torch. From the austere and majestic Queen Mother, the treasure transitioned to the most vibrant, fashionable, and talked-about young woman of her generation. If, on Mary, the tiara was a symbol of unshakable status, then on Margaret, it became the epitome of glamour and youth. Princess Margaret was the complete antithesis of her reserved sister, Elizabeth. Witty, headstrong, and possessing an impeccable sense of style, she was an icon of the post-war world, a breath of fresh air for an aristocracy weary of austerity. And the Cartier tiara suited her perfectly. Its clean, graphic lines and modern design did not weigh down the young princess's image. On the contrary, they highlighted her freshness and elegance. It was not a cumbersome heirloom, but a sophisticated accessory that perfectly complemented the fashionable new-look silhouette by Dior, which Margaret so adored. Her debut wearing the tiara took place in that same year, 1948, on the international stage. During a solemn ceremony at the Olympic Stadium in Amsterdam, the 18-year-old princess appeared before the world for the first time in her new status. And it was the diamond bandeau that crowned her coiffure. It was a triumph. The tiara, sparkling in the floodlights, became her first personal crown, announcing to the world the birth of a new royal star. Throughout the 1950s, the tiara became the princess's signature piece. She wore it to the most iconic events: the state visit of the Queen of the Netherlands in 1950, a reception honoring the Queen of Denmark in 1951. The jewel became an integral part of her official image. When newspapers chronicled the splendor of the British court, photographs invariably featured Margaret in this radiant bandeau. She wore it with her characteristic effortlessness, transforming royal protocol into an act of high style. The tiara accompanied her into her more mature years as well, appearing at events into the 1960s. It bore witness to her passionate romance and marriage to photographer Anthony Armstrong Jones, her transformation from rebellious princess to one of the planet's most stylish women. For Margaret, it was more than just a piece of jewelry. It was a talisman of her youth, a gift from her beloved grandmother, a symbol of her unique place within the royal family. It was in Princess Margaret's possession that the tiara lived its golden age. It became part of the legend of the 20th century's most glamorous princess. For nearly 2 decades, its sparkle was inextricably linked with the radiant eyes and dazzling smile of its wearer. No one could have imagined then that this brilliant partnership would soon come to an end, and the tiara would forever leave British shores. After the mid-1960s, the diamond bandeau seemed to simply dissolve into thin air. It ceased to appear at official engagements, balls, and receptions. The public, accustomed to associating it with Princess Margaret's glamour, initially paid it no mind. Royal treasuries are vast, and jewels often rest in vaults for years. Such was the convenient and decorous narrative that many subscribed to. Yet, beneath the glittering facade of royal life, deep personal and financial struggles simmered. Princess Margaret's marriage to Lord Snowdon was on the rocks, dissolving into a string of public scandals. Her lavish lifestyle, especially on the Caribbean island of Mustique, demanded enormous expenses that grew increasingly difficult to cover. The 1970s marked a period of profound personal crisis for the princess, culminating in a highly publicized divorce in 1978, the first for a senior member of the royal family in 70 years. It was within this charged atmosphere that the first whispers began to circulate. For decades, a single, almost heretical theory had circulated within court circles and among jewelry experts that Princess Margaret had been forced to secretly sell the tiara. The public found this unthinkable, a member of the royal family selling a gift from her grandmother, Queen Mary. But for those privy to the true state of affairs, the notion seemed disturbingly plausible. One must clearly distinguish between fact and speculation. Only one fact is officially documented. After the mid-1960s, Princess Margaret never again appeared in public wearing this tiara. No official statements regarding its fate were issued by Buckingham Palace, and this silence only fueled the rumors. Legend has it that the sale was conducted through a trusted intermediary under the strictest secrecy to avoid scandal and condemnation from the Queen Mother and Elizabeth herself. Thus, the tiara, once a symbol of glamour and youth, became a silent witness to a personal drama. Its disappearance was more than just a mystery for jewelry historians. It reflected the darker side of the rebellious princess's life. From a shining emblem of power and style, it transformed into a phantom, a secret shrouded in darkness. For many years, the treasure's trail seemed forever lost within the labyrinthine halls of private collections and closed auctions. The close of the 1960s heralded not just a shift in a fashionable decade, but the twilight of an entire era in the tiara's life. It vanished from the public eye as quietly and subtly as it had once appeared. For the world, it was a farewell to one of the British Crown's most recognizable jewels, but in truth, it marked a quiet, almost tragic end to its British story. The precise moment and circumstances of its transfer to other hands remain shrouded in mystery. But it was during this period, between the late 60s and the mid-70s, that the jewel's trail went cold. To truly grasp the emotional weight of that moment is to touch upon Princess Margaret's personal drama. Parting with such a gift, a symbol of her powerful grandmother's love and a reminder of her happy youth, could not have been an easy decision. It wasn't merely a financial transaction, but a form of surrender, an acknowledgement that her former carefree life had drawn to a close. One can only imagine her holding the cold, glittering platinum band for the last time before it departed her jewelry box forever. From that moment on, the tiara began a long life in the shadows. It dropped out of sight from the press, historians, and the public, becoming a legend, a subject of endless speculation. Where had it been all those years? Tucked away in the bank vault of an anonymous collector? Hidden in the treasury of some oil magnate? The answers to these questions were cloaked in the strictest confidentiality, a secrecy so highly prized in the market for exclusive jewels. This period of oblivion, lasting for nearly 20 years, only amplified the jewel's mystical aura. From a tangible object, once seen in society pages, it transformed into an almost mythical artifact. Jewelers and collectors worldwide pondered its fate, subtly increasing its invisible value with each passing year of silence. The end of the tiara's British era marked the dawn of its new, hidden life, full of mystery and uncertainty, shielded from public view. 20 years of silence concluded in 1988, and the stage for the tiara's return proved utterly unexpected. No London ballroom, no Windsor Treasury, but New York City, the global capital of finance and luxury. It was here, showcased in the window of an exclusive auction house or fine jewelry salon, among hundreds of other treasures, that it reappeared to the world. Its reappearance was not heralded loudly, but was quiet, almost clandestine, intended for a select circle of the most discerning buyers. A pivotal player in this saga was Princess Chulabhorn of Thailand. Possessing a discerning eye and profound knowledge of fine jewelry, she instantly recognized the legendary piece and understood its true worth. This was no mere pretty bauble, it was a fragment of British history suddenly available for sale. Realizing the uniqueness of the moment, she contacted her friend, then Crown Princess Aziza of the Malaysian state of Pahang, and gave her an urgent recommendation. The advice, given from one princess to another, sealed the treasure's destiny. Soon after, the tiara was purchased and sent to Malaysia. This event marked its second birth, a veritable culmination of its secret odyssey. While its initial narrative was intertwined with the grandeur of an old European monarchy and Princess Margaret's rebellious glamour, it now found an entirely new meaning. Transplanted from London to Kuala Lumpur, it ceased to be an exclusively British heirloom and transformed into an international artifact, a symbol of the globalization of luxury and cultural exchange at the highest echelons. It was no longer just a piece of jewelry, it was a historical trophy. Its perception had fundamentally shifted. Now, to the purity of the diamonds and the elegance of Cartier's design, the most valuable component had been added: provenance. The history of ownership by Queen Mary and Princess Margaret, shrouded in the mystery of its disappearance and scandalous rumors, elevated the tiara to an almost museum-worthy object. Its price was now calculated not just by carats and master craftsmanship, but by the weight of its legend. Its return to the stage was complete, and the tiara's value, both financial and historical, had reached its absolute zenith. Today, the tiara's fate is as clear and transparent as its finest diamonds. It is no longer a phantom or a subject of whispers, but one of the chief treasures in the collection of the Malaysian royal family of Pahang. Its current guardian is Her Majesty Queen Tunku Aziza Amina Maimuna Iskandaria of Malaysia, the very crown princess who acquired it on her friend's recommendation over 30 years ago. The jewel is now securely housed in Kuala Lumpur, an integral part of a new dynasty's regalia. Its status has fundamentally changed. It is no longer a personal accessory to be worn to a movie premiere or a party. Now, it is a historical artifact, a living testament to an entire era. Each time the tiara appears in public, be it in an official portrait, at a lavish wedding, or a state banquet, it is perceived not merely as a beautiful ornament, but as an object with an incredible backstory. It has become a bridge connecting two distant monarchies, the British and the Malaysian. To give an exact financial valuation to such an item is virtually impossible. Its worth is derived from several unique components, each multiplying the final sum many times over. First, there are the materials themselves, platinum and flawless old-cut diamonds. Second, there is the artistry of the House of Cartier, whose name alone guarantees supreme value. But the principal, priceless asset of this jewel is its provenance. Provenance is the history of ownership, and in this case, it is impeccable. Queen Mary, Princess Margaret, the mystery of its disappearance, decades in the shadows, and its triumphant acquisition by a new royal family, each stage adds zeros to its price tag. This is no longer just a piece of jewelry, it is a cultural heritage. And although the tiara belongs to a specific family, its history, its legend, now belong to the entire world. It stands as a keeper of eternity, a chronicle of destinies, eras and empires frozen in platinum and diamonds. So, what truly happened to Princess Margaret's tiara? Today, we can provide a definitive answer. It was not lost, nor did it gather dust for decades in the Windsor vaults. It was sold. The mystery of its disappearance is not a tale of conspiracy, but a tragic story of personal turmoil hidden behind a palace facade. Financial difficulties and emotional crisis compelled the princess to part with a treasure that symbolized her carefree youth. The tiara left London not due to malicious intent, but because the era it personified in its owner's life had simply come to an end. It is precisely this complex, deeply human story that elevates it beyond a mere expensive ornament. It is the physical embodiment of an entire century of passions, ambitions, and transformations. Reflected in its cool brilliance is everything. The imperial grandeur of Queen Mary, whose taste and will brought this masterpiece into being. The post-war glamour and personal drama of Princess Margaret, for whom the tiara was first a symbol of status, then the price of freedom. And finally, the wisdom and foresight of its new owner, Queen Aziza, who didn't merely purchase a jewel, but rescued a piece of grand history for the world. This tiara, a silent chronicler, has witnessed the splendor of London balls and the hushed secrecy of private auctions. It has been a testament to the birth and fading of legends. Moving from Europe to Asia, it has become a symbol of how the world shifts, how old centers of power yield to new ones, and how great art finds new custodians, continuing to live and captivate. It imparts a simple yet profound lesson. The true value of a treasure is not measured in carats, but in the stories it holds. Diamonds are merely the stage upon which the dramas of human destinies unfold. Each facet of this bandeau holds the memory of the touches, gazes, tears, and smiles of its royal owners. And so, looking at its photographs today, we see something far greater than just platinum and stones. We see an artifact that has outlived its creators and owners to tell us their story. For true masterpieces never truly vanish. They merely change custodians, continuing to reflect the hot pulse of human history in their cold brilliance.